All right, welcome back to the OG Rivals podcast. I am one of your hosts, Miles Teddick. I'm obviously the Packers fan on this podcast. And tonight, I am conveniently not joined by the Bears fan that we usually have on this podcast. Sir Miguel Prado he's absent after this victory that the Packers have over the Bears. It's shocking. I'm shocked. Hopefully on our next episode we'll get a very thorough explanation from him, but I'll leave it up to y'all to speculate between now and then. But I'm very excited to be joined by one of my OG just dudes going back into childhood here, best friends and Cowboys fan here. We've got some representation from another team that we've talked plenty of crap about. Chris Anthony, welcome, man. I'm pumped to be joined by you here tonight, and I can't wait to get into some of the shit you got to talk. What's up, dude?
Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate the hospitality. Letting me crash your cast, your pod. I realized that I just took both of those and could have said podcast, but at either rate, yeah, it is convenient that Miguel is no longer available the week after. The Bears lost, but you make your wins count. I got to say that in Green Bay, y'all really do. You make them hurt and you make them count. So
we've had some meaningful ones, man. I mean, we've had some really bad losses, but I'm okay with some of the wins we've gotten.
I know you are. Yeah, I'm fully aware. You're an absolute shit. Yeah.
Before we get too far into it, that win over the Bears made me feel better today, and so. The sponsor of this evening's podcast, Remedies, is all about helping y'all feel better today. We are making more effective natural remedies by combining cannabinoids like CBD, CBDA, and all these others with natural vitamins, minerals, fungi, things you already know and are familiar with, and making them better. So if providing natural remedies is something you're passionate about for your family, and your loved ones, check us out at likeable.com today. If you see anything you like, subscribe to it, save yourself the shipping. We're going to give you that for free. And if you don't like it, or even if you just don't want to commit to anything, just unsubscribe. As soon as you complete your order, we're not going to stop you. Go for it. You're going to love your product. You're going to come back. So check us out again at likeable.com today and see the different natural remedies we have to offer. That are going to make you feel better today. And if you want to help us feel better on this podcast, or if this podcast in any way, shape, or form helps you feel better, hit that like button for us, spike that like button for us, and talk about us at your next tailgate. Leave us a comment down there, subscribe, all those things. Just help us out there with that algorithm on YouTube and all the social channels. Those things only take you a few seconds and help us quite a bit. So we would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, man, I just want to jump in by first congratulating you as a Cowboys fan. You guys have quite the season going here. And, sitting this late in the season as a Packers fan, this is not where I would like to be, where I thought I would be. I'm eating humble pie, especially talking to a Cowboys fan. Like, it's got to feel good. How's it feel, man?
Miles, you're not wrong. It does feel the opposite of bad at the moment. So to that end, the humble pie, I'm glad you could admit to eating it. You guys have a very decorated past. Plenty of championships to dote your cheese head on, while the Cowboys really could use a few more cowboy hats hung on their racks. So I'm really hoping this year is a year of contention and deep playoff run for us. I think we have the tools to do it, and a lot of exciting things, like you said, to talk about on both sides of the ball, and even within the coaching staff. And you're no stranger to our head coach, former
a lot of your staff, dude. A lot of your staff is former players and coaches.
We brought him with, man. We were like, hey, why try to recreate the wheel and stop a good thing? Bring it all with. So things are really good, and I think McCarthy is, a top runner for, NFC Coach of the Year.
Could be.
In a lot of ways, and I feel the same way about a few other NFC coaches, but that's just because, like, I'd never thought I'd say anything about the New York Giants, but their coach is kind of cool. Like, he's like a guy's guy,
Yeah, he's got a good vibe about him. I gotta
Yeah.
admit that.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be fun to. And he gets an invite to the cookout. So,
Dude, that whole division is tough.
it's
Even
wild,
Washington,
man.
it's weird.
And so we still have all that on our calendar, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's our last game on the season docket, right? So it's like I'm not worried about it, and we really, did a number on Indianapolis, which no surprise, but it was
54-19.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
what was and I guess granted, like at the end there, dude, like I even turned the game off when it was only like a 1 or 2 score game. I was like, it's done. And then it's like, wait, they won by 33 points? What?
Of course, I keep it on, but
hell?
at the same time, I start feeling bad, and I'm like, can we stop? Like, this is
What's
I feel bad.
he's
You
already
know?
dead.
Yeah, he can't pull over any further. He's already pulled over. So, but it was just like stupid, like scooping scores and like defensive, advances and stuff like that. And I mean, one thing, it just a lot of good luck and smart football on our behalf. Like, we just don't quit playing, and that's what I like about this team is like they're a bunch of dogs, dude, and they're all really hungry, and so they're exciting to watch, which is it's fun too right now, and they get a lot of the love and praise on on Sports Center and all the sports analysts and stuff like that. They're all like, the Cowboys are the team to beat, like, you know what I mean, and so. It's fun because it's usually just, the opposite, or it's.
You haven't had a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, that's true. I have grown to hate that, actually, because as soon as everybody starts picking the Packers, that's when they lose. Here we are in this sort of like dud of a season. But yeah, man, I mean, like, now, granted, you had a close game against the Giants, but even the week before that, 40-3 over the Vikings. I personally just, I love that, man. That
As a Packer
soul.
fan, I'm sure that just that's better than any Christmas present I could send you. And I wish I could have wrapped that up beforehand and told you, hey man, you're gonna want to sit down and watch every second of this. But that was pretty dope, if I have to say so myself.
Dude, having 2 wins like that out of the last 3 weeks of football, like there's some fire coming out of Jerry World right now, man.
Yeah, dude. OBJ's and hanging out in town, going to Mavs games, hanging out with Micah Parsons and
Now wait. I heard they did him dirty though, man. They like released his medical records or something.
Oh, is that right? What's the deal? I don't see, so I'm not completely caught up on all the what's what in the world, and I don't know, is Twitter still moving real quick with like sports news and stuff, or is everything disrupted?
Super fast.
Okay.
Yeah. I poke my head into Twitter for like 5 minutes, and it's like just drinking from a water hose, and then I pull my head out. All right, that's enough.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, apparently the Cowboys like leaked some kind of medical information about OBJ. And Jerry's like, yeah, we're probably not going to sign him until he can pass a physical. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe that's not looking great. But
Well, I don't even know what it would be for. Like, I know that, for at best, in my opinion, at this rate in his career, he's like a hired gun that can come in and do some pretty sketchy, spectacular things to help you get to a championship run. And he's a great
and at this
weapon
point in
for
his recovery, he's 3-4 weeks is a lot of time.
You're 100% right. And so it's like, I don't know, like, I'm not hopeful on that, and I don't think anyone's banking on that as far as like a weapon we're counting on, into playoffs or for any kind of contention. But it's interesting to see, like, the attraction and like just the buzz that the Cowboys have right now in the entertainment world.
Hell yeah, man. Nah, and I'll admit I don't like the Cowboys, dude. I never have. That's not like something
they're
that's
easy to not
changed.
like. Yeah, they're
Yeah, I've been
easy to
pretty
hate.
consistent in that over time. And I'll be honest, it's always been Jerry Jones for me. I hate the way he runs the football team, but like part of me wants my hometown to be good, and part of me like it is kind of fun to see them being good. And I like Dak, man. He's a likable guy. A lot of the team really is, and it's hard not to root for McCarthy too. It's not like I'm rooting against the guy. He didn't necessarily leave Green Bay on bad terms unless you're Aaron Rodgers, which even now I guess they've all made up and been all lovey-lovey and everything. So whatever. But yeah, man, it is kind of cool to see what's coming together there. And then, pivoting back over to the dumpster fire game that was the Packers against the Bears that nobody wanted to watch, unless you're a Packers and Bears fan, which we were all giddy about. I didn't even get to watch it because I'm down here in Dallas. So I was happy to not be able to watch the first half because it looked like a dumpster fire from Packer fans' perspective. And disappointed I couldn't see the comeback that happened. But, dude, my excitement about that game can translate totally to the game against the Cowboys, and it is all in Christian Watson. Christian Watson.
That's it. That's your guy. Yeah.
Is he scary to the rest of the league, or am I just a biased fan?
No, man, you got a lot of talent in one individual there. So it's like I can't say you're wrong. And to that end, I mean, like you said, that game, lot of play calls were made and weren't made.
Some play
Uh,
calls were made.
but yeah, dude. See, to that end, like if Christian Watson was like to you the secret sauce weapon, I think that your opinion, like I'm a fucking shithead as far as keeping up with stats and like players to like look out for and stuff. Like when it comes to defensive players, I know guys that are taking people's heads off and scoring more points than the leading receiver for the Jacksonville. Like I'm a Diggs guy, I'm a Micah Parsons guy, and so
I saw the 7.
yeah. To that end, if that's what you think was the secret sauce, then sure, dude. I just think that it was a shitty game, and
I mean, he scored
no,
3 touchdowns. I
yeah,
mean, it was
yeah.
something.
Well, congrats, and rightfully so. Like I said, you guys, your record wouldn't indicate that you beat, a 9-3 Cowboys team right now, but you sure did. So,
That's true. That is
um,
very true.
congrats, and take it with a grain of salt on my end, but at the same time, uh, it's never comfortable playing you guys, and it's a rivalry game, and it's a better
Exactly.
rivalry, and I'll argue this in Miguel's absence because the Packers Bears rivalry, it's like it's good when both teams are good, but like and the Packers are like historically good. And
Yeah.
then I can't remember the Bears being good since like I don't know Devin Hester, like Brian Urlacher, or like
Right.
what's the last good quarterback the Bears have had?
Well, they
Or
had
like
Jay
in your
Cutler on
opinion?
the Packers' behalf.
Uh huh.
Jay Cutler is the 4th best quarterback in Packers history as the Bears quarterback. Um,
That's a
but
good
yeah,
stat.
no,
Good stat
he
to hang your cheese head on. Yeah.
no, I mean we've talked about that, and that's why Miguel's so excited about Justin Fields because they just haven't had. I mean, even the quarterback that they had when they won the Super Bowl, guy is blind. You know what I mean? Like they didn't
Yeah,
win the
dude.
Super Bowl
Like
because they had the best quarterback in the league. They just had a guy who was good enough to get it done.
and
And
for the life of me, I can't think of the last time I was like, damn, the Bears are like, I want to watch this Bears game for any reason.
dude,
So
when they went to the Super Bowl, Rex Grossman was their quarterback. Do you remember that? Was that like '06 or something like that?
oh yeah,
Um,
dude, you're just like driving to Winter Formal at the Gaylord, listening to the Super Bowl on the radio. Oh my God, that's so funny. 2006. What a time to be a Bears fan. Yeah, dude. And you remember that time
oh
we thought we
man.
saw Brian Urlacher at the movies?
We definitely did not see Brian Urlacher at the
Oh yeah,
Bears. We wanted to.
your mom like hyped it up too, though. She was like, "That is him," and we were like, "For
We were
sure."
convinced.
If
We were
Jill
totally
says,
convinced.
"Yeah," if your mom thumbs up, then we're like, "Oh, dude, that's for sure." Brian
Oh,
Urlacher
we
at
wanted.
Northeast Mall in Hearst, Texas, watching whatever we were like.
What were we there to watch? Some dumb movie, I'm sure.
Oh, it might was that Anchorman, dude?
It might have been. It was one of those, I think, one of those like Will Ferrell like type of movies. I
Oh
don't
my
think it was
god!
Wedding Crashers. I do
I'm just
remember
glad
that
you
one.
remember that specific exchange, and it didn't sound like I was making that up because it was a
No. I
rather
do.
large human at the
Yes.
movies, and like he definitely, probably could have played ball somewhere,
He had an
but
NFL build to him.
it was
Yeah.
not Brian Urlacher.
It wasn't. It was not Brian Urlacher. Anyway.
Yeah, meanwhile, back
Yeah,
at the ranch.
they've never had a good quarterback, dude. They still, I mean, Justin Fields is good, but he's a work in progress, and so is that whole team.
Well,
Um,
best of luck to them, and I can't wait to hear the Bears back in the news again for good reasons. So,
You're right though. Like to
congrats,
your
yeah.
point, it's a better rivalry when they're good, and I think that the last decade or so has not been good to the Bears at all in this rivalry.
Well, it's like such a ingrained part of the culture in Chicago and Green Bay, and within the state of Wisconsin and Illinois in general, where it's like go Packers and fuck the Bears or whatever. Like that's
Right.
the whole mantra. So
The Bears still suck. That's how we say it up there.
right,
Oh, we're ice fishing.
and then you remember like the SNL guys, the Bear, like so.
Oh yeah.
It's clearly like a thing that like people want and they want it to have happen and be good. What's the
Oh
deal with
yeah.
the Bears Stadium? Do they have some sort of like rebuild on? Is it Soldier Field? Is that where they play?
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly what's forced the issue. Miguel definitely could tell you because he was tracking it pretty close. But they are relocating the stadium, I believe, to Arlington down there. I
Okay,
think that's all established. A
because
quick Google could probably take care of that. But
isn't it like a
um,
bad situation right now at the current like to where it's like
well,
either like this field is like in bad conditions or it's hard to keep. I don't know. Like maybe I
well,
may
the field's terrible.
yeah.
The field's terrible. I think it's gotten better, but it's bad. It's definitely been one of the league's worst over the last few years. But the other thing is it's right downtown. Like it's right next to the lake in downtown. So unless you're walking or taking the train there, and even then, the accessibility is just ridiculous. Like if you're trying to drive there, I don't even know what that's like. I haven't tried it, but it seems like it would be a nightmare based on just me navigating the city for a couple of years myself
So
on the trains and all
logistically,
that.
just to be a fan, it's a nightmare. Like to even
Nightmare.
get to the game, they've
Yeah.
made it like a passing the act of Congress. Which, by the way, those guys don't do shit. But no, it sounds like they could really uptick some attendance and revamp the population of the Bear crowd if they just got a stadium right. Because I mean, look at like the Cowboys Stadium for instance, like. Even on the
Oh yeah.
hottest day and like the hottest game and the hottest day of the year and stuff, and like you're out there dying tailgating or whatever, if you get there early or you don't, and you just got to walk the fucking 30 minutes from your spot to the door, once you get in, it's like, oh, like
Right.
AC and everything. And I'm like, hey, they got these things. They're $45, but they're called Cowboy Ritas. Like, it, it's fun. Everyone's just like, money doesn't exist. It's like being in the airport almost.
Right. Yeah, it's huge
And
too.
there's
Like
not
you
a
walk
bad
in there,
seat.
it's just
Yeah, like you can't.
massive.
Every seat is very like you can see the field very well.
You can
From
see the whole field.
I've
Yeah.
sat up high, I've sat down low. I've watched from the parking lot, so it's nice to have. And like Lambeau, like it has a tradition and everyone understands the etiquette, and it's easy to access, and
Right.
it's built for the community by the
Right.
community. So I think that's something that can be talked about too and looked into is like access of stadium and fan involvement, like, and then what kind of like logistics go into the back end of that within like the NFL framework when deciding on like what real estate makes sense versus not or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd be a lot more thorough about that now, but they're all kind of working backwards from that. Unless you're the
Yeah.
few teams that are looking at new stadiums like the Bears. And I'm sure that's what went into it. But I mean,
Well,
talk about two experiences with Jerry World and Lambeau. Accessibility wise, they're pretty similar, to be honest. I mean, Jerry World's parking is definitely more expensive than Lambeau's.
sure. Yeah,
Um,
I experienced
no
that
doubt.
firsthand. You pulled us up
Um,
front row, and we like no pavement. We just parked in the middle of the winter to go. Like you walked us in, we like saw some stuff and ate at the restaurant and like left, and it was super easy. Whereas if you
yeah.
get within 30 yards of J World, it's like, how did I already spend $40
Oh,
on?
dude, if you want to park in one of those cool lots and tailgate, man, it's like 80 to $100,
Yeah, I've
which is worth it. By the way, the tailgating out there is excellent.
we've had some good times. I had a birthday out there tailgating with you guys.
That's right. 30th, wasn't it? Wasn't it our 30th birthday?
That was the dirty 30, dude, and a year that again we lost to the Packers. That very game. We
Yes, you did.
what the I don't know. It's something we can't do it. We just can't do it. So.
Well, hey, look, you might not have to worry about the Packers this season. So, tell me this: riding high at 9-3 after just whooping the absolute life out of two out of the last three teams that you've played. Like, what derails the Cowboys this season?
I don't know. The Eagles are scary. They're badass. I don't think that can
They
take
are kind
enough
of
wind out of
scary.
our sails. Like I think we're playoff bound in a good way, but it's like Jalen Hurts is that's a team that needs to like figure out their. And this is again, I don't sit around like consuming sports network TV and like
Right.
just I don't hear it, but like from what I've gathered is that Jalen Hurts isn't quite appreciated in the way that he should be. Um, like I think that dude can play. You know what I mean? Um,
Hey, I've already admitted, like, I doubted him going into this season. He just didn't see, I was like, I don't know. But, yeah, guy can ball.
and that's
I've
the
already
bottom
raised my hand. I
line.
was
And
wrong.
I've heard rather conflicting reports like maybe like he doesn't have quite the support of like the community or the team or like the fans basically aren't like all on his side where it's like if you've got a dog out there like running the field like that that's just like there's just certain quarterbacks in modern football that are kind of changing the way that the quarterback position is viewed. He's
For sure.
definitely one of them in my opinion. So uh, they're a scary team, and like they have you know good coaching staff, and you know that's something to keep on our radar as far as like moving forward. And I know we played them coming up.
Yeah, man, they're definitely a tough one. Obviously, they just beat the Packers pretty handily. The that was actually the game that caused me to turn on my hat here because of the Packers' future and how bright it is with Jordan Love at the helm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was pumped to watch the end of that game and see Jordan Love sling the rock to Christian Watson. Um, and then just dream about when Romeo Dobbs comes back into the fold. I am more optimistic about the Packers' future now than I have been in a couple years, or at least at all this year. I guess I was pretty optimistic going into this year about this year, but I mean, after Aaron Rodgers, we really didn't know what we were in for. Now, after seeing Jordan Love, pretty excited, dude. I think he probably falls into the bucket of that what you just described, which is quarterbacks that are kind of changing a little bit of how this position's played. I think Jordan Love having the advantage of sitting with Aaron Rodgers, not just on the practice field, but in the film rooms, just in all the most critical places, seeing the entire recipe of how the man won two consecutive MVPs is. I mean, if that's not a cheat code and some kind of secret ingredient to help you develop as a quarterback, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no,
So
I think you're right, man. And where did Green Bay pick Watson up from?
North Dakota State.
Is that
I think
right?
that's the only reason that he dropped as far as he did in the draft. If that guy was at any Power 5, I think he goes in the first half of the first round.
And Green Bay is real good at recruiting out of those schools up there, huh?
Just out of the smaller schools. I mean, Ted Thompson, that's where he found all these guys. I mean, you got Greg Jennings. He was from like Western Michigan or something. Devontae Adams was Fresno State, smaller school. Was it Jordy Nelson was K-State, which, they're Power 5, but still not a big one. Randall Cobb was out of Kentucky. Like, none of these guys were out of like these big flashy schools like in Alabama or anything like that. And it's worked. So, here you go again with Christian Watson, and he conveniently falls to the second round. And it's like, man, he's a beast at 6'4", running as fast as he does. He's registered. So, like you said, you're not following stats. I have been nerding out a little bit, as I always have. You've always known that.
Oh, dude. Just for the listeners back at home, we always used to joke. Miles had these 2 dogs and 2 cats growing up, and he would just leave NFL Network on all the time, and we always like to like jokingly say like if these animals could talk, they would just be like my go-to like lifeline on any kind of trivia show where it's like sports related. I would just call Bob or Becky, because they for sure know the answer.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you have it going on in the background. Continue.
I got to the point where I can absorb stats by osmosis, man. There's certain things that I just don't know how I knew it. Like, man, I don't even remember where I heard that, but I know that.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, but Christian Watson tied for the highest miles per hour speed for a receiver, I think, yet this season. I think that's what it was. Tied with Deshaun Jackson.
Is that right?
Believe that or not.
What was the MPH on the clock there on that radar?
It was like 21 miles per hour and a change. I want to say 21.47.
We need to have a cutaway of Michael Scott running past the speedometer thing outside of the office.
Definitely.
That's a fast human being. Yeah.
It's fast, man.
And how are they how do they clock? Do they just is the technology that advanced they can just determine breakaway speeds and stuff that?
Man, yeah. Next gen stats, dude. Come on.
I've been an old timer. I was looking up in the newspaper the other day that Babe Ruth was leading the. I joke and kid. No,
No, I'm gonna see if I can find it, but yeah, I mean they've got all sorts of ridiculous stats where they're measuring these things on the field, and this one in particular is just nuts. He's fast, y'all. I mean, he's fast. There's a lot of guys running good 40 times coming out in the combine and stuff. This kid's speed isn't caught by the 40 time. He builds up well after the 40. And same thing with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is one that he's fast on the 40, but he argues that he gains speed after 40 yards.
There's so many guys like that have I think Deion Sanders was the first guy to kind of just show people that he is I can run backwards just as fast as some you can run forward, then make up that ground and then run an 80-yard punt return touchdown. And also now I played wide receiver, but also I got to go play center field for the Yankees. Real quick.
And how valuable that athleticism can be as long as that person knows how to use it,
I think Prime's done pretty well for himself as an athlete and person in the sports world, and that's something I don't know if you want to talk about or not with his recent move to Colorado.
Man.
I don't a lot of people everyone has opinions, and my whole thing is what do you mean, dude? He doesn't have to be out coaching, trying to make a difference and win a championship, win a big game, be on the big stage, do the thing that he wants to do. Wants to go out, influence young men, teach them how to play hard-nosed, tough dog football, and get that shit done
Right.
and teach them some life lessons along the way. And I don't think there's
Right.
anything wrong with that. And he did it at Jackson State, and they say that it hurts the community for the HBCU community and stuff like that. But it's like, no, I think if anything, he went in and helped him and showed that there is a way. But it also showed how slow moving and archaic and bureaucratic processes can slow down. And he wants to move fast, and he can't do that. And that's in that school set and that, in those conferences and with those resources.
Right.
He's going somewhere where he can. And it's not like Colorado's like some hot shit school. It's not, it's nothing to like snub your nose at, if you know.
Well, and it's fun to watch because let's be real here, right? Like, and this is the video gamer and me coming out, and I know you didn't game as much, but you still were familiar with the concept of, you get the NCAA game, you pick the worst team, and you try to build them up through the dynasty and take them to a national championship and get all the best recruits. So he's living that right now, right? Like
100%.
He went to one of the lower schools and he got the good recruits. He built them up to a championship team. Now he's like, all right, I'm going to go to this next one. We're going to do this again. And I really do think that we should be watching this because it's Deion and he's able to bring an amount of resources with him to these places, but if there's anything that he's demonstrating, it's how to be a leader of men, especially young men, in a time where we need that, man. Like we need good leaders of young men.
It's nothing it's nothing more than that. And like, that's full stop. It's just like, no one needs to make it about someone's being a savior of a certain sect of football, where it's football at the end of the day, right. First of all. And if you're out with good intentions, like, can you be perfect? The Friday Night Lights speech. Can you do that for me tonight? So, and I think he's that coach with that kind of, rapport that he can keep with his troops. So I think that if Colorado's got bright things in the future, I think he's proving a lot by saying he wants to take this responsibility on and lead a more serious football program that has, more skin in the game. And at this rate, why not, dude? Like, I'm a Deion fan, and I think that it's cool.
Absolutely.
Like, there's not a lot of ex-football players out doing that. They're just kind of living off their fortune, just retired, cozied up. And he's not had it easy. He's had a bunch of like physical ailments too. He's been coaching games in a body cast on the sidelines and stuff. So it's just like he can't get away from the game. It's a true passion. So I think it's great. Yeah.
And it's just as a football fan, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch people who know the game get in there and be good at, the game in general. He was a great player, one of the best. Now he's starting to show that he could be one of the best coaches.
I think that's awesome, like you said, because typically it's usually one or the other, right?
Right.
You don't usually see a great player coach. It's usually they play a little, they're okay player, but they just understood the game like like a son of a bitch, and they like could coach the shit out of some football,
right.
Like Tom Landry wasn't like a stud football player, but he played football.
Bill Belichick,
great example. Yeah. It's where it's like, So, but in Deion's case, it's like stud athlete and leader of men, but he also has a little bit of, I don't know much about his coaching theory and stuff, but if you have the right resources and the right coordinators in place, like that have good football knowledge and theory about like your opponents and what's working and what's not, based off of what your schedule looks like, then you should be able to do great, especially if he's going to go in and out recruit everybody now that wants to come play for him.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's easy to point at it and say, well, he brought 5-star recruits to these places that, don't have them and don't compete against them for the most part. And it's like, look, there's a lot of examples, a few in in our neck of the woods down on south on 35 in Austin, of teams that have plenty of talented recruits that don't win games. So just having the talent come with him is not going to get it done alone. Like, he's getting the talent to play some ball.
That's it.
And that's the part that we need to be watching.
Right. And watching how quick you're able to adapt and build a program versus ramp up, because that's really speaks volumes. Because like you said, to do it overnight is nearly impossible. And if you get something to make a splash, you usually have those. The hardest part is getting the plane off the runway, right? And so it's like that might take some time. But to your point, we can kind of transition and talk about how the Big 12 continues to screw themselves.
Hey, yeah, look, that actually is kind of relevant, right? Because this is the OG Rivals podcast, and the Big 12 is like, to hell with rivalries, man. We don't need those. Get those out of here.
Yeah, no, it's like, why would we need a rivalry when none of us? It's like misery loves company, and they just love to watch each other suffer, dude. And TCU, bless their hearts, and I really like that quarterback. They're like a Friday Night Lights team, man. They really are. Like, a lot of it reminds me of that night. I heard
he's got the bloody elbow and everything, dude.
I saw an overdub the other night of the speech Billy Bob was talking while. It's like lots of clips of that, and that's like what Garrett Forsythe is just watching in bed, just crying as he goes to sleep. He's such a big Horned Frog fan for a non-university graduate, but.
He's a diehard, man.
He loves them, man. He's got a lot of great friends that played for Patterson back in the Rose Bowl, and I mean, like, how exciting was the team, of a team that was to watch and stuff then. But right now, it seems as though that loss didn't quite cause as much detriment. I think they tried to wrong some past rights in TCU's back end contention, right?
Yeah, I believe they're basically where they would have been if they won anyway, because Georgia and Michigan won. So I think even if they won their game against K-State, they're still 3 seed, which is where they are now.
My dude, can we talk about something real quick?
Sure.
Stetson, what's his name? Georgia quarterback.
Oh, being the same age as Lamar Jackson?
Just being 25, playing quarterback in the NCAA. Dude, could you imagine being 25 and just going out? Like, the confidence and like, but not only that, he's just like, he's 25 and like working at Cane's. You know what I mean? Just serving up chicken tendies, living life in, I guess, Athens. That's where the university is. Is that right?
Yeah.
Dude, King of Athens. Gotta have like the best time. I was like, he's named after a cowboy hat, dude. This is your name.
Just undefeated, dude. I mean, he's got to be living the life for sure. Got to be living the absolute dream right now. Can Georgia be defeated?
I don't know, dude. Like, they're have good. Some weird college football like juju going right now. They're real like, ooh,
They're good.
I can't figure it out, and I'd like to not see Georgia having so much success as of lately. But I also like how far away we are from Atlanta, that we don't have to deal with all the fanfare of like all the recent Georgia sports wins with the Braves and the World Series and dude,
what is going on
last year? Yeah, like but dude, the Astros, whatever, dude, like whatever, like congrats, I guess.
It's wild, man. I'm just like, man, y'all just got caught cheating. It feels like yesterday. I guess
like, well, we made it right. It's just, and I don't know, it's just too soon for me. But congrats on ruining baseball and then being the greatest team in baseball. Like, you can't do both, guys. It makes us feel weird, about
we all feel dirty.
Yeah, like the only people that don't feel dirty are the people that were like already Houston fans. Are people that moved to Houston and need some sort of identity because they don't have one, can move to Houston. Enjoy it.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy the traffic.
Like, there's just not like any kind of sports tradition in Houston that I'm excited about, you know?
No, dude. Like, the only
As a
reason,
Texan, right?
as I thought the Rockets were cool, like, you know, in the first grade because it was the Rockets, you know, like any, 6-year-old kid thinks Rockets are cool. I'm like, oh man, that's a cool
That's
team.
the team I can relate with. I don't know
So
what
I
the
had
hell the rest of this
some
stuff
Rockets
is.
posters in my room. I couldn't even tell you who the players were. Just like hanging up. I got
But that's because you got them at the book fair, man. You're like,
the Scholastic Book Fair.
Dude,
You walk in there, you get that Scholastic Book Fair smell in the air. Oh, buddy. Just rolling there with like $7. Oh my gosh.
That was like our first dopamine hit, artificial dopamine hit as kids. Just like,
Well,
wait.
like for
This
me,
is
and this might have not been the same for you because I feel like you and your mom had a pretty sweet like agreement growing up where like, you know, like for me it was just like, you need money for what? Uh, so I'd go in there and be like, yeah, dude, I got like $4, you know, and like my buddy Scott would come in and be like a $20 bill. I'm like, what the? And like in '96, dude, $20 in a 7-year-old's hands? You might as well have been
ball at the book fair with $20.
What are we, the Rockefellers? Yeah. So at any rate, man, I could relate to spending all my money on like sports posters and I Spy books at the Scholastic Book Fair, and maybe some Goosebump books now and then. So,
well, to steer the ship back to football, I found an answer to the question earlier about how fast Christian Watson was running. Top speed of 21.72 miles per hour.
Is that good?
And is in fact tied with Deshaun Jackson, who's like 40 years old, for the fastest speed by a receiver this season.
Jeez,
it's pretty good.
Do you think we could run that fast?
Dude, like downhill with something pulling us and our legs, like just having to do something to keep us from just completely eating everything.
If we were like chained to a motorcycle, like, you know,
it would be a desperate situation. A desperate and physically fortunate situation.
Okay, I just wanted to see how fast you thought. How fast do you think you are? Like on any given, what would it take to like hit top speed for you as far as motivation, like being chased or running to save something, like i.e. your house?
Probably be running to save a family member, child, or wife. That would probably be the highest.
That would give you more adrenaline than running from something. Like, say...
I mean, I haven't had to run from, like, a bear or something in my life.
Yeah, like a mountain lion or something, like, you know, like, and you're like, all right, this is, you know, fight or flight or whatever. And
yeah. I haven't had to be in that situation, so I don't know physically what I would produce there. But, you know, every now and then I'm like when I'm running.
About a quart adrenaline, if I had to guess.
Just like you know, maybe I need a quart and a half to reach 21. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's fast.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Jackson is not a tall man. He doesn't reach that speed with long legs like Christian Watson
And
does.
this dude is 6'4", you said, Christian Watson is? And he runs 21 miles per hour?
6'5", like almost 6'5". Yeah, he's
a large human.
He's a big guy, man. And, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the future of the Packers offense far more than I was a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, I was ready.
What's the future for y'all's quarterback situation look like? Is Aaron Watson just going to live there forever and like take over all Piggly Wiggly franchises and be quarterback forever? What's his deal?
I think, and look, you know, right now the GM and the coach just got to keep everything happy, right? So they're not going to say anything mid-season that's going to be like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is out. Like, they're not going to do that. They don't do that. I think they know what they have in Jordan Love. They definitely tipped that off already. So yeah, in a lot of ways, it looks like the situation where we went from Favre to Rodgers. You know, I mean, not just like the game-to-game comparisons that people were making, but, you know, and at the end of the 2008 season, they knew, or I guess the 2007 season, they knew what they had in Rodgers. So they were okay with starting to plan to move on from Favre. And I feel like that's where the Packers are at now. But you're not just going to announce that mid-season while Aaron Rodgers is still playing for you, still under contract. That's something that you deal with later, and they're certainly not mathematically eliminated, as much as it feels like they are. So yeah, that's where it's like, I'm excited about the future more than I was. Now that I've seen Jordan Love, I've seen Christian Watson. I can't wait to see what happens when Romeo Doubs gets back on the field. But you're the one here who's even in the immediate future got a game to look at, much less playoffs to look at. So we're certainly not looking at the playoffs yet, and we don't have a game this week because we're on a bye week. So the Cowboys have the Texans coming up.
Oh,
Are you nervous? What we got going on here?
I'm going to stop doing this stupid thing. I was trying to put a funny picture of this like fat Packer fan in my background. I'll quit airplaying it. How's that? But at any rate, the Texan game, is that what you're asking me? Am I nervous about it?
Are you nervous about this Texan game?
Go ahead and ask me who the players for the Texans are. Ask me
who the quarterback is.
Eddie Murphy. I don't know. Like the 1-10 Texans. Who's playing for the Texans right now?
You know what I mean? Brandon Cooks, I think.
What's going on down there?
I don't know.
No, you would know, and I don't. I know nothing about this team, and everything about their team has gone downhill into shits ever since Sir J. James Watts left.
Wow, and they just kind of O'Brien lit that thing on fire and walked out. That was wild. Just sold off the assets for nothing and left the building. Yeah,
so my biggest worry is like the Cinderella story, like weird cross-state rivalry energy, and they just get enough energy to play one game and like compete for 4 quarters. There's still an NFL football
still
team.
An NFL team.
Anything
can
happen.
Man, you got to watch these games.
So, but at this, I'm not worried because I could who's the running back? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Is Daffy Duck their defensive coordinator? I couldn't tell you, man.
I couldn't tell you either.
It's something that I'm just not worried about it. And again, if we want to talk about I don't want to make it sound like Houston's not my favorite place in the world, but at the same time,
I mean,
I'm kidding. I've got a lot of love for Houston and Houston Knights and fellow Texans.
Do we have any friends that are Houston fans? I don't think I do. I'm not aware of any friends of mine that are Houston fans.
Dude, once I went to Texas State and moved to San Marcos, I didn't know that people in Texas lived in Houston until I went to school there. And then I was like, oh, here they are.
Here they are. This is where they were hiding.
They're all here. Yeah, they're all here. So, yeah, you find them, and then you're like, okay. But the one leg up that Houston has on all of DFW is that Houston has HEB, and DFW is just now getting HEB.
This is true. And we are, man. We're getting it, and everybody's very, very excited about it.
As you should be, man. For the listeners out there and at home, I am tuning in from the big city of Little Rock, Arkansas, where we have Kroger.
And Walmart, right?
That sucks. I've not been to a Walmart since I moved to Arkansas, believe it or not. And I know that sounds weird, right? You'd think so, being in the home state. But I have a Costco card. We have a little local grocery store that's regionally city regional, like Little Rock and expanding area. It's called Edwards, and it's nothing impressive at all. They don't have a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But they have the stuff that I need, and so I go there a lot just to beat a crowd, dude. It's weird getting older, the pep talk I have to give myself to go into a grocery store. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's just knock this out. At any rate, I was just talking domestic duties, grocery stores, things of that nature. We can move on.
No, these are all good things, man. Especially as we, we start having more folks on the podcast. We're all coming in from places that are not the locale of our fandom. If I even said that right, I don't know. It's kind of late now.
Yeah.
But you're a Cowboys fan up there in Arkansas. Of course, you grew up in the DFW area. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Packers fan down here in the DFW area, and then Miguel's a Bears fan out there in California. Um, so it's almost like if you're in your location, you're kind of not eligible for this podcast. So
Yeah, it's one of the requisites, and that's why I met the qualifications. It was the vetting process was hard to get on this show, guys. For those listening at
it
home,
took you 18 weeks,
and
man.
I want yeah, and the drug test was really what threw me off. But it was like, what kind of drugs will we be testing?
Well, we are the
So, and
OG
luckily, it was all of it.
Rivals podcast, so we like to make sure that there's no snitches coming on the podcast.
Stitches get
That's right.
stitches, dude. But yeah, I'm not worried about the Cowboys upcoming against the Texans. It'll be a good game for Cooper Rush to go out there and show what he's got. I would like to hear your opinion on him, what you think his future looks like, where he should go. Because I think that he's a QB1 potential guy in the NFL for certain organizations.
Absolutely.
And I think that he showed that this season. I think that it's a great weapon to keep in your holster, but I think at the same time, you're capping his potential and wasting his putting him on a bench and saving him for a might be is not a good use of his time in the league. So I think that this Houston game, hopefully we can do enough damage in that first half to where he can put Rush in that second to let him have some more reps and get some two players in there that otherwise haven't seen a lot of playing time this year.
Ooh. So you're looking at the backups for playing time, man. Look, we're not screw these guys. Sisters of the poor. We're looking at backups for playing time here, and I'll tell you,
Well, the 1 in 10, dude. I don't
yeah,
know.
you're
I
right.
haven't. I couldn't tell
One
you.
in
Like
10.
I couldn't tell you anything about them. I don't know anything about the Houston Texans right now.
So no, but back to Cooper Rush. I mean, it's an interesting topic because he does. I mean, he can win games in the NFL. He's proven that. That's just facts.
Yeah.
Um, I actually I asked Austin about this, and what he would do right before Dak came back. It's like, all right, man, you got this expensive quarterback. If you're the GM, what are you doing? And he kind of just kept taking the path of like, I never would have signed Dak, never would have signed Dak, never would have signed Dak. So he didn't have much of an answer on the exact situation. But man, if I'm playing Madden and I'm the GM of this team, I'm trading Dak. Give me the assets that I can get for the quarterback that Dak is in this league, and there are plenty of quarterback-hungry teams that will overpay for who he is and his future potential that he still has. Trade him and let Cooper Rush be the guy who's shown you that he can, at the very least, be a game manager and win games in this league until you find your next franchise guy. You get a bunch of assets in this
Yeah.
next draft. You've already got a stacked team. Either use those assets to find your next quarterback, or you just keep building a bunch of talent around Cooper Rush and let him not screw it up. There's plenty of quarterbacks who have done that. You can win Super Bowl with a Trent Dilfer, and it's still a Super Bowl. Still a Super Bowl ring you get, man.
That
There's no asterisk by that.
that's true. And like I don't give a shit either way. There's a lot of guys out there that are probably like screaming at the screen, being like, "No, Dak's number
Oh,
one."
yeah, dude.
Blah,
I'll
blah,
rile
blah, blah.
feathers with that
And
one.
like what those people don't get is that these guys are really happy with their career
Yeah,
choice. Like they're professional football
right.
players. It doesn't matter how they cut the cake. Their life is pretty freaking sweet. And so to that end, I don't know if all of it makes sense what you said based off of like, like we saw Cooper being able to come in, but it was on the precept that Dak was going to come back when he was healthy, and like it's all this happy family, this cohesive effort. Everything's like copacetic, and like we all love each other. But like I think Dak's got a real bond
True.
with his core players. But we saw Cooper, able to come in and kind of adopt that same rapport with the core guys. And it might not be the same, without Dak around, but at the same time, if the team's mission is the same and the vision is the same and they're excited to play together, sure. Like you said, you could, make your money back, give Dak to another top tier team who's going to take them to go do great things. I think Dak's a strong, fast quarterback. I think he's capable of playing. He's one of those quarterbacks that I could, it's odd in the NFL, because sometimes you see a quarterback that is just meant to play quarterback, like a Peyton Manning
right.
or a Matt Ryan or a Tom Brady. Like they can't play another position. But you get a guy like a Dak, kind of reminds me of like a Dante Culpepper, Donovan McNabb, where it's like this guy could play a couple positions on the field in the NFL. So that's, to me, he's great, and he puts himself in more dangerous positions to get hurt because of his size and strength. Because he is harder to take down. He gives himself longer for more guys to get to him, to put himself in a more vulnerable situation. He's more susceptible to those big injuries because of his size and strength, and that's something that he's got to learn to work with or against. And we'll see. But I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's definitely a QB1, and I think that he's earned the right with the Cowboys and like fought for the spot. I think there was too much polarization around how much he got paid and the deal and blah blah blah, all that talk. I think that was a big, part of everyone's conversation that like these guys don't say our names ever, and like here we are just talking about them at breakfast and stuff, where it's like, dude, who gives a shit? Like they're making so much money, so yeah. Dak could go wherever and do great things. I would love to see him do it as a Cowboy and win a championship. I think Cooper Rush is more than capable as a business owner, and specifically in this scenario, the Cowboys owner. With our purse and resources, I don't see the reason to. If things go well and Dak performs well, and we get to where we need to be, and things are like groovy. I'm using very like NDA safe language here, as to not like
might help us with the algorithm to keep it family friendly, but
yeah. Well, I'm trying to just not say anything to like spook the Cowboys out of any kind of early exit from
all of the
postseason,
superstition.
activity.
I hear you there too, man.
Yeah, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious, but
that's fair.
Yeah, it's. I hear you. So, but to that end, like my whole thing is these guys are happy wherever they're at, and that's something that we need to remember. Like after the games and stuff, even if it's kind of like a blowout, beat the hell out of another team, lost, like there's still like homies coming across the field that like played college ball together. We're in a football organization together, in the league together.
Oh yeah.
In a past life, so it's like watching, it's like finding out that wrestlers aren't actually enemies in real life.
Yeah. They go back and dap it up backstage, grab a beer afterwards, talk about what's next.
You're like, oh my god, what do you mean Stone Cold and The Rock aren't like hate each enemies?
Other? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No. So then, what do we got here for the rest of the season for the Cowboys? You got the Texans, you got the Jags, you got the Eagles, you got the Titans, and you got the Commanders.
So Eagles and Commanders, obviously the two that stick out.
Those are the intimidating ones. The Titans don't worry you?
I don't know. Derrick Henry, right? He's the Titans running back. He's pretty dangerous.
Their defense is pretty good.
He's a bad dude, and I don't know much about them either, but I do know that the Eagles have a filthy record, and they got a really incredible quarterback, we talked about earlier. And just a good team, good coaching staff, and they're hot right now, and so they're worrisome. And that's a big rivalry, Philadelphia-Dallas. That's a big hate game, and so it's like if you go to Philly, and if I showed up in Philly, got off the plane, and I was wearing this, like I would be buttoned up until I got to the stadium, and then even at the stadium, I'd wait till I got to my seat, and maybe even then, like make sure that I was in like some like friendly fire support. Because that's the only stadium in the NFL that has a jail underneath the stadium for misbehaved
that's
patrons.
Nuts, man.
So yeah,
that is nuts. No, but that game is that's in Dallas. That's in Jerry World. So,
and that's another thing is I would like to go to a game pouring myself an adult beverage here.
Right on, man.
Are we doing any? You want to do any plugs? This is a little. This is dressed
Go
up for the
for it, man.
holidays.
Plug it
Got a
up.
little sweater on. This is Cimarron tequila. It's 100% agave. Probably get it at your local liquor store, but it's better than any of that like celebrity tequila out there that has all the additives and perfumes and aromas and stuff. It's just good drinkable tequila. So if you like it, thumbs it up. But
any tequila to me seems
yeah,
undrinkable, but that's because of my 21st birthday, so can't hold that against any single brand.
it's the only spirit I can like willingly drink now, just because it doesn't like A, make me automatically tired, and B, like brown liquor just makes me want to like, argue about anything. And then like vodka, I'm like, we should listen to sad country music all night.
No, you should have had a little brown liquor before this, man. Just argue it up on this thing. Although there's just not much to argue about right now. The Cowboys are better than the Packers. There's just not much to say about that.
Yeah, as if there isn't enough footage of two white dudes conversing their opinions across on the internet for people to ponder through.
Oh man, there is not enough hours on YouTube yet. That's why we need more. The algorithm wants more.
It's underserved. Yeah, we got to give. And if you were to tell anyone when we were kids, dude, anyone in the future, and I'm like, how far in the future? I'm like, you could be like 20 years old, and even before that, at any rate, whenever YouTube came out, like 2000,
we were in high school.
7.
It might have been 2006.
2006. Yeah, and honestly, dude, before that, and we sound dumb for not knowing this, so that's on us. We need a guy to like look stuff up for us. But the point being is, if you were to have told us like the importance and the relevance of the fact that you can broadcast out as a TV channel to the world, we couldn't conceptualize the internet at the time, and now we can. We're on here doing this thing, and we're like putting it out there and be like, "Well, see you later." Hope all 12 people like this, But like the thing is, we can still do it. But if you told us that at the time, and even like to show us and be like, we'd have been like, yeah, whatever. Like it seems like work. Like I gotta get like a USB cable and like a camera and like discs and space, and like at the time, because we didn't have these powerful like smartphones, and now everyone's so like, just like spoiled for like what we use these phones for versus a utility. So the fact that you're using technology to like do anything productive at all is a pat on the back for you, in my opinion, because it beats like scrolling the gram or whatever you could be doing. But yeah, anyone that could like broadcast themselves on TV, I'd have been like, shut up, dude.
Shut up.
I can have my own TV channel. No way, man. And it's like the Chris TV channel. So many stunts. But yeah, and I never did. So
well, and now here we are, man. We're doing it, and YouTube just lets us do it as long as we don't say anything controversial. But we're just talking about football and dumb stuff, so we don't really have to get into that realm.
That's right. I'm gonna have to get YouTube down here to film this famous Michael Scott quote. And that was another thing. There was a dark period of my life, and I think it was in a lot of people's lives too. Maybe even during COVID, where like they had a resurgence of The Office in their life.
I feel like everybody,
everybody. Wow. I'm just speaking through The Office in tongues to like people about nothing.
See, I feel like I didn't go as far down that path, so a lot of stuff is lost on me. So I apologize for that whenever that happens, but I do love The Office when I watch it. I just I didn't get as far into the Office language course.
Can we talk about something else real quick about like the beauties of learning how to drink as you get older?
It's important for some of these.
As a youth, you do anything to like make a drink taste good that's alcoholic, right? And you just make these terrible concoctions.
Skittles,
when really, as a 33-year-old, not alcoholic, but I dabble. It does better just to have the alcohol and then maybe a swig of like something afterward, instead of ruining that entire Gatorade and pouring like vodka in there. Or you know what I mean? Yeah. And you're like, cool, hydrating and drinking. I'm like, yeah, it tastes like medicine. It is gross. So don't do that, kids.
We did some
Grow
terrible
up.
things in the dorm rooms, man. The $7 vodka inside Orange Mountain Dew.
God,
Yeah, that was a regular.
I'm just glad we're alive. Yeah. That is a Wisconsin special. That's like what's running through. That's like the Oshkosh blood type is vodka orange Mountain
Yeah,
Dew.
dude. Absolutely. And then, man, one of our buddies, shout out to Arch, always had to have his Diet Mountain Dew to make cupcakes. It's like, what?
Dude, that is some WT white trash Kool-Aid. That is something else, man. Well, Diet Mountain Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew and
Um,
Seagram's, I think it was. Shout out to you, Arch, you crazy, crazy man. Love you, buddy. But yeah, introduced me to cupcakes, and he just never deviated. I thought that was a good move. His very consistent consumption of cupcakes.
I wonder what Arch's liver looks like these days, or his teeth, for that matter. You think he's still rocking a full
I'm sure he's
set?
got them. Yeah, he brushes his teeth.
Yeah. Arch, leave us a comment. Let us know how
No
you're
way
doing,
he's
bud.
watching
We're
this.
worried
If
about
he
it.
is, that would make my day. If you found this, Arch, definitely leave a comment and let us know that you saw this. That would make my freaking day.
Arch is at home.
No
Dear
way.
diary, I found it. Yeah.
I'm going to clip this on YouTube just for this one clip to maybe find him out there in the social media verse. But
Internet, do your thing.
here we go. What is Arch drink in college? Anyway, dude, so then give me a little prediction time. Like, not like a record for the Cowboys on the way out, but like, are you Super Bowl or bust right now?
Man, you had to say it, huh? You just had to go and say the things that we
Is
don't.
that?
It's like the Volt.
You
It's
don't
like
want to say
Voldemort.
it.
It's like saying that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
No, but I think that there is positivity and affirmations. And there's a guy I know, and you know him too. He used to play lead guitar in Shane Smith's band. His name's Tim Allen, not from Home Improvement, but
Right.
he has his own band now and music project, and it's really good stuff. If you want to look it up on Instagram, I think his name is Tim Lightyear. But he's been doing this thing where he'll be like, the Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl, like after every, and like it's consistent in the message, and like I'm glad he's been doing it. And he's like, I think we're like building some manifest destiny, and that like someone's like brave enough to be like, I've got to put it out there and just say it, because the rest of us are such pussies, dude. We're just like, oh, I don't know, man, we're doing pretty good.
Man.
You know, Dak looks
You guys have
good.
been beaten up so many times by the tease of a good roster just to be just let down in the worst way. You don't even get like a good playoff
I
run.
know, dude.
You get Romo's extra point fumble.
It's never. Yes, I know. All these play, like I have gifs in my head, dude. They're just like on repeat, where I'm like, all of our failures of past playoff runs. It's just like, eh. And the deflation that is in your chest, the cavity is empty, and you are just like, I guess I am listening to George Jones and drinking bourbon tonight. That's what's happening. So thanks a lot, Cowboys. So
I get it.
that quick anecdote about an Instagram friend posting about the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Yes, dude.
Say the line.
I hope so, and that's my whole goal, right? That's the reason that these guys strap up and go play Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. And if the NFL and Roger Goodell had his way, it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
And we would have teams in every
and
continent
Friday.
around the globe.
Yeah, dude. The Antarctica Inuits, they would be killing it. Yeah.
What a travel that would be. Damn. Oh.
Yeah. The Ice Bowl,
Shit.
every game.
No, God, no.
They'd be like, guys, we're gonna have to call that extra point back. That wasn't a ball they kicked; it was a penguin. So
couldn't see it through all the blowing snow. We thought it was the ball for sure.
It did go through the uprights, which is impressive, given that the penguin does weigh considerably more than the ball.
Oh man, so we'll give him
But
the points
penguin
anyway.
did not live.
Oh, dude, yeah, that would be wild. But it makes you wonder how many teams Goodell would add, like when they do finally. It's inevitable, right? Like they will have international teams. Like that's got to happen at this point.
Yeah, but don't you think that would just bring back like preconceived, like stereotypical team names? You know, because when you got to
I hope
globally
so.
plan it, it's like, dude, you got to give some relativity. It can't just be, one
I
thing. Like,
I think that you got to do
no one wants to like, be like no one wants to play the Japanese technologist. Like, I want to
it.
play the Japanese samurai.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, look, unpopular opinion. I don't think team names matter all that much, but I get it. You know, you want to make the Washington Commanders change their name to the Washington Commanders.
So Lady Antebellum, yeah, I
Uh,
know. I mean,
yeah.
whatever it was.
No, you want to change all things. All right, fine, 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 fine. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I think it's going to come back. Um, maybe not in the same way. You might not get the
Oh,
Redskins again.
dude, this is a perfect little segue for like little like plugs. And I know we're kind of getting off the football
Yeah,
topic
let's
here,
do
but
it.
you were saying the name
Yeah,
change
dude.
thing. I've so for a recommendation I have for you, it's for a TV
Okay.
show that I binged it recently. I got food poisoning the
Ooh,
other day.
yes.
When I told you I ate that $35 worth of Taco Bell,
Yeah. Take that, Taco Bell, and your
so
fake meat making people sick. Boo. Sorry. A
geez,
little
dude.
anti-press there.
So I woke up and I took Drew his car back. He was in enough of a type of conditions where he couldn't drive the night before, and so I had his car and I went and got him, and he was driving me back home. I was like, "Hey man, I need some food. Will you go to McDonald's for me?" And we get to McDonald's, the line's out to the
Ugh.
street. He's like, "Well, I got to go to Taco Bell for Caroline, his pregnant wife." I was like, well, "Let's go there, knock that out. I'll get food there and save you some time." So we go do that, and I order a 12 pack of tacos, which comes with a large drink. So I got half crunchy, half soft. Then I got Mexican pizza meal, which comes with two tacos and a large drink. So I got a large Baja Blast, large Pepsi,
Of
Mexican
course.
pizza, 12 tacos, 14 tacos.
Wow.
So I ate 11
Oh my
tacos
God.
and ate the Mexican pizza and drank both the drinks over the course of like, 5 hours. The Cowboys were winning like hilarious. I was like, this is easy. Like I was just having a great Sunday afternoon. And I felt real sick, like in my stomach later that night. And I was like, that's to be expected.
A
I just
lot
ate
of
all that
Taco
Taco
Bell.
Bell. I knew what I was going to do. So I figured I would have the one run and done. No, dude. For the next 24 hours, I was like holding on for dear
Ooh.
life, as was Drew, as was his
Ooh.
wife, um, who was pregnant.
Ooh.
So
That's not good.
we were all in bad shape, but I was able to binge some TV while I was
So
sick,
what'd you hit?
which kind of helped my on
Yeah.
TV. It's called Brockmire.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Do
I've
you know
heard it.
this
I haven't
show?
watched it.
Yeah. Okay. So the premise is like it's a baseball announcer who like goes haywire live on air about like finding his wife having like cheated on him and
Ooh.
stuff. And
Ouch.
like the first two seasons are hilarious, and then it gets weird because it goes 4 seasons and it goes onto this weird timeline. But it's a cool script and it's really good writing because the guy that's the main character is the guy that does like every voice in The Simpsons.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
what's this guy's
Yeah, yeah,
name?
yeah. I know. I can
Hank
see his
Hank
face. Yeah.
Hank Azaria, yeah. And so, and on the ratings for this show, just so you know that I'm not giving you any kind of trash rating
You
here.
usually don't.
We've got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes and 8 out of 10 on IMDb. So worth the Google and worth the watch. But they do a thing where like they buy and flip and like rebrand baseball teams, and they buy the Cleveland Indians and rename them the Cleveland Colonizers, and it's a picture of like a white revolutionary dude with a wig on with a machete and blood, or like a bayonet with blood.
Jeez.
So,
I mean, that's not far off from the New England Patriots and their old logo with the bayonet.
well, dude, and that's what's funny is like they take reality, make it
Yeah.
fiction, then fiction is stranger than reality sometimes, and like we're seeing it happen in real time with the name
Oh
transitions
yeah.
for these maybe insensitively given names at the time of our nation's growth. We'll call
Yeah.
it right.
You know.
We're all learning. We're all learning. We're all trying here. So
No, And it is funny how sports end up tying into culture and culture into sports and all that. I mean, shoot, Dan Snyder is looking not great. Looking not great at all. So kind of hard to even get defensive of the Washington team out there in general.
Oh, dude, yeah, I couldn't give like less than a shit, man. Really, to me, like that stuff is like it's hard enough. Like just like the colors and the like the emblem, right? That's what you basically got to keep a hold of. And so, like for everything else, like you go to bat and it's like, well, we're going to be about the Kansas City Chiefs. And like, I'm like, dude, if you want to get into baseball team names and football team names, you get into the minor leagues like, stuff like that. Where it's just like, bro, who named this
the
team?
The minor leagues are wild. There's some weird ass names in the minor leagues. But I mean, look, we don't need to go after all of these. The Chiefs are it's not a derogatory thing. Like, I mean, it's.
Well, and then the Braves too. Like, there's things that like just like it's a domino effect at a certain point, and that's not what the point of this podcast is. But I do know that Brockmire is a good show.
We've talked about
for
it.
Those that have a lighthearted sense of humor and can kind of like go about it with like a progressive mind. But dude, if you like Hank Azaria, who has played nearly every voice of any character on The Simpsons, watch Brockmire. It's super fun.
Absolutely.
So that's my rec for you. Outside of the always popular and great King of the Hill.
Yeah. I can't get enough of King of the Hill. And also, Dallas Cowboys representation on that show. So,
dude, I've got a King of the Hill shirt anyway. Yeah. They have plenty of Dallas Cowboy representation on the show. They do love the Cowboys. There's specific episodes where they go to the Cowboys training camp.
That was a good one.
It's just you can't miss. You can't miss,
dude. So at this point, we've gotten predictions out of the way. The Packers, I'm not going to make any. They obviously have a bye week. I'm not going to make predictions about the rest of their season because it doesn't stinking matter. Part of me is trying to jinx them into the playoffs. The other part of me really just it doesn't matter. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, do you care? What's your appetite or involvement? Like, what equity do you have for the rest of the season?
Look, as a fan, if they win out and get the support that they need to find their way into a wild card, the 7 seed, whatever it is, do I want them to win? Yeah, I want them to win. I mean, they did that in 2010, won the Super Bowl. They were the 6th seed then. Do I think that will happen?
But realistically, do you think?
No.
What do you think? Like the path is though for them to like focus on success next season and like how to like preemptively put out fires that you see being roadblocks for y'all's success.
Well, I mean, let's play out the scenario that they've kind of put out this week by saying that they want Aaron Rodgers back. Well, if you want Aaron Rodgers back, you're just copying, pasting the offense for next season. That's essentially what they got to do. The biggest hurdle in that might be keeping Jordan Love. He might end up saying like, dude, I'm done. Like, I'm trying to go play somewhere. We'll see.
Yeah.
But other than that, your defense is a problem, and you have tons of talent on the defense. So it's not the talent. So I do think that they have to replace the defensive coordinator. I don't think it's Matt LaFleur's style to do that midseason. So you probably
who do you like for a DC to come in?
Well, a Packers Twitter favorite is Jimmy Leonard, the now former defensive coordinator for the Badgers, who also had a 10-year career in the NFL as a safety. Brilliant defensive mind in college football so far. Really wants to stay in Madison. His family does too. But I think that the way that they handled that whole situation, I can't blame him for not wanting to stay with the program. If you went to Green Bay, you could certainly keep your family in Madison and work in Green Bay. There's ways to make that work for sure. So, we'll see. But other than that, I mean, I think there's a couple hot names out there, but you've really got to see, who goes where at the end of the season. When what is it, Black Monday or whatever starts, comes around, you see who gets let go. If there's a defensive-minded head coach out there that gets let go, you want to pull in. Those are the kind of guys you want to watch for. I think they need somebody who knows what the heck they're doing, kind of like what the Cowboys got with Dan Quinn. I mean, the guy knows defense. He may not have been the best head coach for the Falcons, but there was no doubt you were getting one of the best defensive coordinators in the league when you got him. You need to find somebody like that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like when people talk about, like the money wasted on players and stuff like that of the Cowboys and staff and stuff, like they've got the money to bring in head coach talent for coordinator positions. So it's like, that ain't it a worry to me, and that makes our fan base and all around organization a little more pretentious. Because to your point, what you just were talking about, like the equity that the Packers fans have in the organization, and like the knowledge about like trivial knowledge and tribal knowledge about like where this coach was coming from. He doesn't want to like move away from his family, blah blah blah. Like I looked up some stuff today before this call just to see like the breakdown of the last game, the Packers win over the Cowboys, and like Packers forums, like the whole front page, like nothing, no Cowboys, anything, like and people are like the good, the bad, the ugly, and breaking it down like 4 and 8 full steam, analyzing the game, like no shit's given, right? And they're just like that has some, there's some charm in that where it's like, yeah, dude, that's got a little bit like, it was funny, like all the stuff that you find
out there, man,
for like Packers just knowledge, where it's like Cowboys, it's like come to the happy hour and buy a jersey, like it's different. So
no, it's great. And I'll give Packers Twitter their due, man. They call a lot of shots before they happen. There's been a lot of players that they've wanted to see, and whatever the case may be, that have come to fruition, and it's like, dang, Packers Twitter was right about this. We need to keep listening here, guys. But it is funny because every one of them will get up there, and at the end of the day they'll get on Twitter and be like, well, this is still my team, so here I am. And it's like, I just want to cuss these dudes out sometimes, you know what I mean? Like I've got a little bit of that Cowboys fan in me where I just like get a little bit brokenhearted. I'm like, F this, man. I don't want to get this jersey out of here. Like,
yeah, because you have to sit in our culture where we're just like, like so easily brokenhearted. Whereas Packers fans are like, well, that's just how things go here in Wisconsin.
Well, there's always next season,
We had a bad winter, and that was all we could do about it. And we lost a few head of cattle, but that's about it.
We're just gonna go. We'll go enjoy the bed races this weekend, and do some ice fishing in between. And next thing you know, it's training camp.
Go ahead and break out those. Yeah, bring out the fancy curds. Yeah, the dill ones. I like those.
Make sure they're fresh, though.
Make sure they're squeaking good.
Squeaking good. There you go.
Yeah,
dude, that is too much. Well, what are some of these others? Did you have other stuff you wanted to throw out there? I think you brought that up before we started recording.
I think you were talking about like back pain earlier. So I had some back pain too, and I was like, man, I'm going to go to a chiropractor. So I set up a meeting with a chiropractor recently, and I went. And this isn't me being, I'm a progressive guy, dude. I'm all about, equal rights for everybody. And I had a lady chiropractor, but unless you're like a bull rider or like a softball player, and I mean like infielder, you know what I mean? Like she just didn't have the size and stuff. I need someone to really like snap me. Like if I'm coming to the chiropractor, I'm in here because I need you to like make me see colors, smell colors, and see sounds.
Full body.
And so I've never left feeling more disappointed. Or so I was going to ask you if you've ever been to a chiropractor where you had a less than satisfactory appointment, and how many times do you go before you're like, this is a scam, I'm just going to use the foam roller?
So, I have not been to a chiropractor since 2013. And that was in Chicago. That was after I got in a car accident. And the chiropractor I went to was somebody I already knew. It was kind of a buddy that I had already kind of got to know through networking in Chicago. And I was like, yeah, man, just got in this accident. He's like, dude, come see me. Your insurance probably covers it. And he was right. And it felt great. Now, let's get this straight. Guy's kind of a big guy. He's like, 6'4", 220, 230.
I don't want to get it twisted. I've been to like male chiropractors before where I've left being like, yo, that was great. Like they really did some things there. Where, like they're like, I was like, I didn't know I could do that. It felt like it's scared at moments, but I'm great now.
Exactly.
So yeah. And the thing is I have real shoddy insurance right now, specifically within the state of Arkansas. For some reason, there's not a lot of carriers in my network for my plan. So I paid like $100 out of pocket to basically just like have my back like pushed on real hard, you know?
Well, your wife could do that.
And I was like, yo, dude, I'd be like, hey, just walk on me. I could have Emmett walk on me. Yeah. He's popped my back on accident better than that before. So that's just a hot take on that. So next time you go to the chiropractor, just make sure, like, maybe we could get some.
We'll find like a good chiropractor
some strong-handed,
sponsor for the podcast. Like somebody we need to shout out.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all about the natural remedies,
Yeah.
man. So chiropractors fall into that.
Yeah, dude. That's it, dude. And that's it, man. Like maybe some strong Ukrainian women hands coming over here seeking asylum. You know, we can get some of those
They're
Soviet.
bred different over there. That's for
I'm
sure.
just kidding. Yeah. A little stronger. And they because they're making bread.
Of course. And it's cold. So they grow thicker.
Yeah.
The cold makes you thicker.
God, dude. Because whenever you would come back from Wisconsin and stuff and visit us in school, like you just wouldn't be bothered by like it'd be like 40 degrees outside and you're just like
all relative.
I'm like, no, it's not.
All relative, dude.
Terrible.
And I'm like, there were times that I surprised myself up in Wisconsin, but you'd go through periods of sub-zero weather, and then you're like, you get like a 35-degree day, and you walk outside in shorts. You're like, oh, this is fine. This is not a problem at all. I can absolutely do this. Yeah. It's just different, and it is a little bit of an alarming feeling to a Texan. The Wisconsinites, man, they got it down. They know the drill. They
yeah, you guys make us look soft, man. It's cold up there, and like it takes a lot of gear for me to like feel warm up in the Wisconsin.
But you did it. You went ice fishing.
I do,
so
like,
you at least have a little taste,
dude. Yeah, so speaking of one more like off the beaten path thing that I think you'll be into, and we could talk about here real quick before we sign off, because I have to pee like yesterday, but whatever. I'm doing a race in June called the Texas Water Safari, and I've always wanted to do this ever since I learned about it. And it's the world's toughest canoe race, and it's I'm going to do it by myself this time, but you can take up to a 6-man team. But I'm doing it, for the spiritual journey. Just making sure I got it in me, man, before I take any kind of other people down this path with me. But it's a 270-mile canoe or kayak race from San Marcos, Texas to the Gulf of Mexico. So you go down the San Marcos River, which has a lot of water flow and feed, but it's a lot of switchback. And I'm taking an ocean kayak, which is like a racing kayak. So it's harder to maneuver on those, but they're faster in the straight cutaways, which is the majority of the race. Once you get out to the Guadalupe, take that all the way down to the Gulf, then you got to cross the bay to get to Seadrift, which in some cases, if you cross in good tide and there's a good bay, a glass bay, you can get across in a couple hours. But if it's 3, 4, 5 foot swells, you're kind of at the mercy of waiting it out or trying to take the long way around. So they give you 100 hours to do it, and there's checkpoints all throughout. So you have to have team captains, which I have kind of allocated. You can be part of that crew if you want to be, just to kind of sign in and out. But I know you got priors with the little ones.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. I'd love to be part of business if I can. We'll have to try to make that happen.
But yeah, I'm just gonna do it this time, and then I think if I can get through it, or even if I don't, just being like, hey, let's put a team together and find out who wants to do it, because the 6-man teams finish first. They can get it done in under 40 hours. They give you 100 hours to do the race. And so you think, there's gators, snakes, log jams. So the reason I'm taking the touring kayak is because you can get a lightweight one, like a 30 to 40 pound one, with your gear in there, maybe 50 pounds, that you can pick up and carry over stuff, instead of having like a 150 pound rig with propellers and all sorts of stuff underneath. Because it's anything man-powered, but you can get it done. I want to get it done in 55 hours. I'm going to set a goal of 60. I'm aiming for 55, but it also just depends on conditions too, like water flow. It's in June, so it's really hot, lots of mosquitoes. just stuff to think, dehydration.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's the race can get ahead of you. It's a mental thing more than it is physical at a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'll be fun. Definitely the toughest physical thing I've probably ever done, or at least since playing high school football.
That's cool, man. I'm intrigued right now because I've still got it in me to do some tough mudders.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link, and if you're interested and you want to do a solo run too, go for it. But that's my whole thing is I don't want to bring a team into it before I've done it by myself, just to knock it out. And I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for anyone else. And when I tell people about it, everyone has their opinion and thoughts and words and stuff, and you just kind of take it because it's a reflection of their thought, but it's not why you're doing it. You're I'm doing it for me. So,
oh, dude, that's cool. Definitely shoot me the link. I'll make sure it's on this on the podcast. I mean, in case anybody else wants to check it out. Like I said, we'll cut some things up.
Yeah, the vaping will help. Yeah,
it's all legal products, of course. Hemp, CBD, nicotine.
This
whatever.
is nicotine. I'm an absolute menace to my body. It's just gonna be why are we doing this? I'm we must, because we must.
Well, the world's toughest mudder is in Dallas this year, so it's kind of haunting me.
Are you gonna do that? You've got a bunch of those under your belt.
I have 9, but not the world's toughest. Just 9 regular. Well, I shouldn't say regular.
So do you want to do the toughest? The
toughest is a 24-hour race, so it's as many 5-mile loops as you can do in 24 hours. I really would like to do it.
What's the limit on what have people been making on those?
I mean, there's a range because there's definitely some folks who do that are a little bit slower, and they'll just go out there kind of as this I did it kind of
24
thing.
hours is a nice cap, and you can't get that much done, but you can get a lot done.
And it also depends a lot on the conditions, and
it's not like an ultra where it's they can put you out in Moab,
right,
where you're in the desert.
Well, and they used to do it in right outside Vegas, but they would do it in November, so it's not brutal out there. But yeah, and now they started moving it around, so it was outside Vegas, and that's why I say the conditions matter, because I think that there were people hitting 150 miles in 24 hours out there.
Yeah.
But that's where it was dry, and there wasn't a whole lot slowing you down. They've had some of them where the winters hit under 100 miles, because the conditions are wet, are cold, they're slow. So it kind of varies. But, for me, what I'd like to get is, I'd like to hit probably 50 miles, right? I'd like in 24 hours, I'd like to hit that 10-lap mark.
Is that doable for you?
I don't know, man. That's a lot.
You run a lot. I don't know. I'm just asking what you think.
I really don't know. I've never run that far. Not in 24 hours. Not even close.
Well, you don't know until you try.
No, it's probably more realistic to the first time to do maybe 40 miles, 35 or 40.
Yeah. That's why I'm aiming for 60. I would like to get 55, but dude, it would be cool to get a 48-hour clock on this and just beast it. But you don't know what obstacles are going to come up. Maybe I get sick and dehydrate a little bit and have to carry on and have to take a longer nap or something. You don't know what's going to happen. You got to play to your body and stuff.
Play the game that's in front of you.
That's it. And so I'm excited about that. And I definitely keep you posted. I have a guy I work with that did an ultra up in Moab, actually the 250 on foot. I couldn't do that, right? Where I at least got water pushing me. I'm in a boat, and I told him about this. He's like, dude, it's the same. I was like,
no, it's definitely not the same.
You were hobbling along through God's scorned portion of earth where they cursed the Mormons too. Just kidding for our Mormon audience. We can have a whole episode on that. And then not only doing that, but you're depriving yourself because your body is in such catatonic shock at a certain point that you can't even consume water or chicken broth or anything to sustain, and you're running off of reserves, and your organs are in some cases shutting down. Your Achilles are nearly tearing, and in this boat race it's going to be hell. And I'll send you the link.
It'll be tough for sure.
But it's going to be something that's like really fun. So I'm going to start training for it here. There's a bunch of water and rivers and stuff to run on up here and paddle on. So I'm excited about that, but I'll probably buy a used boat down in San Marcos here in January. I got to go down there for a work conference, and I'm going to go down to San Marcos and New Braunfels, where I've seen some for sale that I like to purchase.
Nice, cool, dude. That's definitely keep me posted on that. And hey, so anybody who's watched this far, and I will clip this one out because there might be like a runner audience that we have out there, and we could certainly talk about that kind of stuff again in the future. Where do people find you, man? If they're interested in following the Chris Anthony, I refuse to acknowledge any other Chris Anthonys out there. I don't care if you are listening to this podcast. And check out this journey.
Yeah, dude. If you Google me, I think there's like a guy that has a really famous salon or like modeling agency or something. But to that end, I'm just kind of a normal guy. You know, I'm a married man living in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I've got an Instagram. It's just like Chris Anthony. There's an underscore and a 0 in there. If you look on Miles' thing and search Chris, you'll be able to find me. But outside of that, I play like open mics and stuff, and I don't have any like recorded music on Spotify or any streaming platforms. So it's always a joke of mine. I'd be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Chris Anthony. Have an Instagram if you want to like watch pictures of my dogs and stuff, and got some recordings on my phone I can send you. But outside of that, I hope you like this next song. You know, so." That's how you can get a hold of me. But I'm just your normal guy hanging out and sitting in on this podcast in lieu of Miguel, who is conveniently not available.
Man, what a strange convenience that he has in not being available tonight. But hey, there will be a 19th episode, so we'll just have to ask him about it then, because there's a bye week this week and there's nothing new to talk about.
That's true, man, and I'm sure he'll have plenty to catch up on and defend himself for us. So I'll be eager to tune in and hear all about it, as should the rest of the audience.
Of course, all the
eager ears.
The big growing audience that we have. There's a lot of you out there. But anyway, no, dude, I appreciate you making some time for this tonight, man. This is fun. I love cutting it up with you every now and then when we get a chance to.
Yeah, dude, I feel like we have these conversations on the phone anyway, so might as well just put it on some script and made it some use in Miguel's absence. So I'm glad to have done it, and I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun,
dude. And I'm kind of honored that I get to be the one to put you on Spotify instead of some musical reason. Because I'm sure you will end up on Spotify for a musical reason at some point.
Yeah, dude. If we keep messing around, we might accidentally make something happen, and a song might actually hit. Yeah,
you just never know. But
you never know, dude.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight and recording late into the night and getting all sorts of weird here. And maybe you have to come on again if the Cowboys go all the way to the Super Bowl and just talk about it.
Dude, that's the goal. And if not, you can have me on in a whole different light as a depressed drunk, like in this room all dark, just laundry everywhere, and I'm just kicking stuff around.
Just wait for that gut-wrenching loss and then have you back on.
Sarah McLachlan Adia streaming in the background on loop. Just sad.
Oh,
but
man.
If that's not the case and we have other celebratory reasons to talk, then I'll come back on here and disrupt y'all's otherwise well put together podcast. I know we're all over the place tonight, which was a lot of fun for me. So thanks for letting me come on and be a shithead.
We're kind of all over the place every time. We just make it look like we're put together. So
perfect. That's the way you do it. A little fancy sauce.
That's right, man. Just make it look like it all went the way it was supposed to, and we're good. So, but all right, man. Well, enjoy your evening, and I'm going to sign off with a Go Pack Go.
All right. Well, how about them Cowboys? We'll see you guys in the Super Bowl.